Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are feeling good today. Hope the sun is shining on you. Not like at you, like not eye level, but like, not like blinding you, but maybe shining you on you in just a good way. Today, we're diving into the band Five Hand Reel with the track Haugh o Cromdale. This is coming off of the album. I think it's coming off of the album Earl or Murray. Hold on a second. Let me see. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. I actually have it pulled up off of a compilation. So maybe it's coming off of Earl or Murray, released 1978, but I may be incorrect in what I'm reading here. I may be off, so apologize if so. We're giving this a listen, though, because this was suggested and sponsored by John. So, John, thank you so much for the recommendation. I appreciate that. Five Hand Reel. I can't say that I've ever heard of them. And I'm not sure what a five-hand reel would be. It sounds like an object, like a fishing rod, like with a reel, like a five-hand. I don't know. It involves a lot of teamwork or something. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into this track. We'll discuss it a little bit after. Here we go.
As I come in by Haugh and Doon, a little wee bit frae the tune when day the Highlands I was born. They view the Haugh o Cromdale. I met a man in tartan trews and speared at him what was the news. Quo he, the Highland army rose, the ere we come to Cromdale.
We were a bid for every man when the English hosts upon us came. A bloody battle then began upon the Haugh o Cromdale. The English horse they were so rude, they bathed their hooves in Highland blood. But our brave clans they boldly stood upon the Haugh o Cromdale. But alas we could no longer stay, for out the hills we came away. And so we did lament the day that we came to Cromdale.
That's drumming.
Thus the great Montrose did say, can you direct the nearest way? For I will are the hills this day and view the Haugh o Cromdale.
Hey!
Gymnosis strong, you scarcely hay 2,000 men, there's 20,000 on the plain, stand rank and file in Cromdale. Thus the great Montrose did say, John Highland man, show me the way, for I will o'er the hills this day and view the Haugh o Cromdale. They were at dinner every man with the great Montrose upon them, came in another battle and began upon the Haugh o Cromdale.
Tight snare. So war, you say. I love how this builds it up. Different in every single respect that I would think.
bloody game upon the halls of Cromdale. Of 20,000 Cromwell's men, 500 fled to Everty. The rest of them lie on the plain upon the halls of Cromdale.
It's really tight drum. Tell you what, I'll be honest. I had zero idea what we were getting into. Not a clue. I had not a guess. Okay, so this was. I see here that it's a traditional song, and John says it's about the twin battles of Cromdale in 1690 A.D. And the historical facts in here are a little inaccurate as well. This is really interesting. So it's a mix of a few things. It seems to me. One, the marching drum is such a cool sound in here, and it has such a thin sound to it. It's not a heavy kind of snare or anything. It's very thin in its sound, and I like how that's able to be used throughout the track for the most part because of its thinner sound. It sounds like just an extra percussion on top of the rest of the music, especially when the full drum kit actually comes in. It doesn't interrupt it. It doesn't stand out in an awkward way. It fits in really nicely in line with the music. Then you have I'm assuming it's fiddle being played here. I have the band pulled up here, but it just tells me performer. Like, it doesn't tell me who's playing what. Although I do see Tom Hickland here. Picture shows that he has a violin or a fiddle of sorts. And so I'm just going to assume then it's him playing that. And what a perfect jig to add in here. There's a liveliness into the music that he performs. There's a way that he plays that sounds really fun for a subject so serious, of course, as war. And there is that moment of deep respect and reverence and kind of severance from the rest of the content there, as the drums are in isolation in that middle. And it has sort of a solemn feel at that particular moment. Like, done away is the fun playfulness of the music, and now we are just left in an actual march to war. And you could argue that sometimes, how to say this? Sometimes war and battle and such from afar looks glorious and not fun, but but when you're the one actually marching down the field, all of a sudden those fields are quiet. There's a difference. And I feel like this song really did a great job of kind of capturing that, because it felt like we were now actually marching to battle at that middle section where it was just isolated. And I love how the band built it back up from there. It was basically a drum solo, which is really, really cool how they perform that. Let me pull it back up here really quick. Love how the acoustic, well, it was before that. The acoustic set, fills in before that. We start filling in a lot more of the fills, and we start off with a lot of open space and bring it back in, and then before you know it, the band comes right back in. And now it sounds more aggressive, more decisive, and kind of cutting through. Really enjoyed the bass playing as well. I wish I could tell you who's performing the bass. I see you have Barry Lyons here, Dick Gahan, Bobby Eaglesome. I just can't tell you who's playing what, but either way, it was really cool. And this, to me, kind of fits in really nicely with like Steel Eye Span, Pentangle, and actually Clanide, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, it kind of fits into that kind of sphere in a way. Let's look at these lyrics, though. Inaccurate as the history may be. As I come in by Auchindoun, just a wee bit fray the tone, I'm going to mispronounce a lot of this and I apologize. To the highlands I was bound to view the house of Cromdale. I met a man in tartan trews, speared at him, asked what was the news. Quoth he, the Highland army ruse, that ere we come to Cromdale. We were in bed, sir, every man, when the English host came upon us came. A bloody battle then began upon the house of Cromdale. The English horse, they were so rude, they bathed their hoofs in Highland blood. But our brave clans, they boldly stood upon the house of Cromdale. But alas, we could no longer stay, and over the hills we come away. So we do lament the day that ere we come to Cromdale. As the great Montrose did say, Highland man, show me the way. I will over the hills this day to view the house of Cromdale. They were at their dinner every man, when great Montrose upon them came. A second battle then began upon the house of Cromdale. The Grant, Mackenzie, and Mackay, as Montrose they did espy, then they fought most valiantly upon the house of Cromdale. The Macdonalds they returned again, the Camerons did our standard join. Macintosh played a bloody game upon the house of Cromdale. The Gordons boldly did advance. The Frasers fought there with sword and lance. The Grahams they made the heads to dance upon the house of Cromdale. So, we're getting the battle in full respect here. And the loyal Stuarts, we Montrose, so boldly set upon their foes, laid them low with Highland blows, laid them low on Cromdale. Of 20,000 Cromwell's men, 1,000 fled to Aberdeen. The rest of them lie on the plain, there on the house of Cromdale. Well, sounds like it was quite a decisive battle. It says here the song is about a battle which took place on the 30th of April, 1690, in which a Jacobite force was routed on the low ground or meadow at Cromdale by government forces. The first verses imply the defeat, but alas, we could no longer stay, and over the hills we come away. But then a second battle with a great victory by Montrose is described, which is actually based on Montrose's victory at Aldern in 1645. Montrose has been dead 40 years before the conflict at Cromdale. The victory verses may be a wishful patriotic fancy, wherein previous heroes joined together to win a second non-existent battle at Cromdale. Okay, that makes sense. You're kind of invoking the forefathers. You're kind of invoking previous warriors, commanders, and etc., into a current battle. I gotcha. I see what we're going there. Let me know what you guys thought of the track in the comments down below. John, thank you once again for the introduction. That was a cool track, and like I said, it definitely kept me guessing at every single turn that it was going. So I appreciate that. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.